Well, ladies and gentlemen, normal out we are in a question mark and in relativity. Fast out before I forget it, and similarity after forming out of the Shanghai Corporation that is modified in question mark of Labor Day or the semicon of India, do was the pretty woman do of economic tension, not of the forming out of diversity gauges and nothing him of elasticity of society out of diversity of similarity of the annual forming out of there was someone that was calling the annual what's it as a meeting out of new champions almost when an attention out of one dozen almost now to be a question mark of open dimension of a big data that I seen something of innovation society and now as many of sharing out of solutioning like in island out to be in the forming of possibility for the cost factor of electricity ECC or diversity I would feel in saving out of diversity to scale that in similarity of 1927 on the further improvement after that I think that's one of the first was that to be also that are mentioning how to be by Potters out of so bucket normally after the agreement seeing something of CGTN of a show after the Asian further improvement from 63 like Berkshire have by founding how to be of Mungla and Warren Buffett some question mark how to be as a special need out of mechanism and the forming out of growth cycling out of Kansas on the proposition without the forming out of provision and lobbyism payment and ECC as a bank of content data out of IPO my impression of the former also mentioning how to be showing how to be 1% about the administration instead of about these things how the finding is something like venture capital how to be for the findings of a B2B business exclusive right for some validation time how to be of B2C the business of some self-manufacturing or the outsourcing out of modification and similarity because of the forming of return of investment by the new development animals how to be anything of that I mentioned how to be like the forming of out of the advertising associated I thought out without that the Cadillac still existing out of my last sketching of Independence Day out of music out of like Cadillac and breathing out of the similarity of last year of shake and using out of searching out of few of the posting out of chronicle like from out of the in the forming out of the last 4 quarter watching out of the digital marketing 1 quarter stock market of 5 year 1 year and similarity free diversity of influencer out of the out of Sheng Hong Kong as I mentioned out to be in a great area in Bombay out to be and forming out of similarity of global innovation index out to be like forming out of Korea tech scene out to be similarity or from a tech innovation or whatever by Christy Roots out to be there's some Korea not the forming out to the similarity that they take a 7 ton out to me making of not Flugen from one of them 2 out to be and forming out of the instead out of banning or tunneling by skyscraping and searching out to be in similarity like air conditioners in my skyscraper out to be without a tectonic question out of Cheech and Chong or similarity like 100 million tech crunch similarity of AI and similarity of venturing out of here and some investing out of the some movement out of society for diversified functioning out to be in an analogy like the hammer sharking out of the ocean in heaven out of that and RFK Jr. real idea and the fights TJ Green DDA video and program Wilson Iconic out of the out of education and question mark of executives directors and the forming out of lawyer and form of purchase and position of what to do and 1 minute of the part of some teaser out of the P.R.BTA by the big data question mark out to be similarity often that I last year using out of cost economic growth and spread on the foundation out to be 50 minutes I had 75 minutes around about need and 50 minutes for the 9 keynotes out to be for the people who had out of Zionism and Zarathustra line out to be as a university had also Jewish economic people out to be also the 66 original out to be like Milton Friedman out to be capitalism and Friedman and called the Atlantic share out to be the conservative out to be of Henry Kissinger the first speech heading so off of Hong Kong That's over out of the data correlation out of impressive TikTok and similarity. What I've seen some by the QR code in the Instagram and by the similarity of CQ codes on the picture in the middle and the agency by the forming out of names and shortening out of of remembrance of short lead and long term band naming out that means similarity. A question mark out of diversity that I've seen associated it is left by me and the forming out of similarity. out of the hypothesis about a with the virtual or virtual SIM card similarity in the virtual context out to be for the virtual registration out of biometric function, and then forming out of then it must be out of like AT&T and Verizon of what solutioning of contacting of number change and forming out of short and long term customization also by the provider out of the not that it could be blocked easy. By the hypothesis by the 2 billion out to be by the Harvard out to be the forming out of that like the forming of spicy by the milk or milk product of observationing out to be by some stomach processing out of it out of Zuma forming out to be a humoristic of Siam in Malaysia down the boosted aging of trading the German of Indian gathering the breaking gas of the out to be of Russian some gas after 2015 still existing and the finishing of the oil resources jet fueling out of the similarity of the cactus similarity out of the sticking out of forming out of vegetative similarity out of the growth cycle out of the of society I predicted by the first and second effect out of the of the diversity equality or some and the forming out of founding out of question mark out to be that out of the effectivity of substituting out by joint venture ECC and the former alumni and the forming of networking ECC as a very similarity by the virtualize out of biodong out to be ECC our forming out of that gateway out to be I think former Mumbai out to be and Mumbai out to be of innovation society members under adultery out of subversion out of the trade agreement out to be normal like a freemasonry of skull and bones and diversity of other 3927 so the first free ABC Roman ABC the first 9 is all the similarity, by 9 is forming out of similarity, and by her show out of the in question mark normally out of the agreement 2020 see that the economist also mentioning also last year in the forming of preparation that the Xi-Jinping as the former of the 2 building versus forming of mid-class and similarity and the diversity of caste system and out to be in the former Tribune out to be in some forming of the diversity of regional outback in ECC areas in the forming out of return of a bastion of Indian and out of that a question mark out of some question mark out of scaling to make some out of new nuancing of 9 points of the 27 and the form of sovereignty of nations and the form of aspect of that they had out of because of the classical macroeconomy normally we type boom and up and down out to be is the maximum out to be out of win-win scaling out to be for the world of products out to be in the question mark out of the feeding and the decarbonization dehydrated and the forming out of racism as some flag burning United States out to be in the forming out of humoristic in some defeat as the divide and the forming of question mark of opinion by CGTN out of forming of who's and also listening Blues Rock and the ECC Roadhouse let's make him a new adjustment out of my hem for victory of homaging Franklin there Lewis or Hyde Park in New York but not of me Jose birthday of 4th December 1978 born out of New York City in the back of New dash compatibility out of message that I could not describe in some form of amusement out of the criticism and diplomacy out of question mark and some forming out of annexation and pretending out of societies out of Freemason culture out of Tocqueville watching how to be from Poland Bonaparte at the Freemasons like Adam Smith, Thomas Paine and Benjamin von ECC are done and some open mind out of contributing in the forming out in the form of possibilities out of geometric out of by RE scaling former sending out of first article of Alexander Wang and similarity for then the other out of engaging how to be out of diversity when you think how to be of Rayburn and Oakley and the quest out to be out of sending also the forming out of did you know also in the movie out not the game out of Sean Penn out getting Michael Dexter as a millionaire some game to make something out of order and the forming out of amusement out to be out of social competence not the game not the dumbness not the forgery not the Baromenthausen some of flying in the consequence conclusion out to be not the forming out of question mark and the golden opportunity out to be 1.5 decades so out to be as a question mark of similarity out to be when you think also by the diversification out to be and the second effect by the dictator data and ECC of advertising rate, because I thought about that the TikTok and Cattle belonging to ByteDance and the succession year I see was a revenue or profit I will be more than 1 billion or to be and the forming out of like Norman Gruber, partly out of the boom supersonic, the civil and the forming of military functioning out to be the new step bomber of emission and of Hydrofrachter when you Concorde, I think around about over 10% of mass in the forming out of further improvement in the justification and out of the sound problem out to be or anything out to be of electric vehicle movement forming of comparison out to be with less emission because of hydrogen energy. That was all so yet.